Once every 5 centuries, a woman is born with a spiritual power capable of transforming a serpent into a celestial dragon. This power determines the fate of humanity, bringing either salvation or destruction. In Los Angeles, police are investigating an area where a massive trail has been found. It's as if a giant creature has passed through. Journalist Ethan, who comes to investigate the news, seeks answers despite the silence of government agents. But the agents remove him from the area without any explanation. Ethan notices a strange scale buried in the ground. The sight looks familiar to him, because he saw something similar when he was a child. As he looks at the medallion in his hand, he flashes back to 15 years ago. Young Ethan had gone to an antique shop with his father. While his father tries to sell a sword to the shop owner Jack, Ethan browses the shelves. At that moment, a mysterious box that opens by itself catches his attention. A giant stamp emerges from the box, and the strange energy it emits is directed straight at the child. Seeing this, Jack suddenly pretends to collapse to the ground. His father wants to call an ambulance, but Jack tells him to get some medicine from the shop next door. When his father leaves, Ethan is left alone, and we realize that the old man was faking everything. Jack tells Ethan about the giant snakes that live in the sky. Once every 5 centuries, one of these snakes transforms into a celestial dragon thanks to its good deeds. For this, it needs a magical object called the Yu-Yu-Chu. However, the evil snake Baraki and his followers have been waiting for centuries for a chance to steal this object. 5 centuries ago, the Celestials sent the Yu-Yu-Chu to a city in Korea to hide it, entrusting its protection to Master Po Chong and his student Haram. However, the evil snake Baraki also knows the location of the Yu-Yu-Chu and is waiting for the right moment to seize it. At that time, the wife of a local lord gives birth to a girl named Narin. The large birthmark on her shoulder is a sign that she will become the bearer of the Yu-Yu-Chu. When the girl turns 20, the Yu-Yu-Chu will merge with her body and the evil snake will reappear. Over time, Narin grows more beautiful. She falls in love with Haram. Haram feels the same way about her. Master Po Chong shows Haram the kind-hearted emoji who is destined to become the celestial dragon. As the gigantic snake glides through the waters, the young man watches in awe. Po Chong also gives him a powerful medallion that can protect its owner in times of danger. Soon after, Baraki and his army attack the village. Flames rain down from the sky and the village is devastated. The people cannot resist the dark magic. The women are gathered and the soldiers search for the girl with the dragon-shaped birthmark on her shoulder. Eventually, the army reaches the Lord's house. Narin's father is killed. The young girl rushes outside screaming. But at that very moment, one of the soldiers notices the dragon-shaped birthmark on her shoulder. They try to take her away by force. At that moment, Master Po Chong descends from the sky, attacks the army with his magic, and gives Haram a chance to rescue the girl. Haram takes Narin to one of the caves in the forest. He tells her that she possesses the power to either save or destroy the world. Despite his injuries, Master Po Chong survives, but finds his student's medallion on the ground. Haram has disappeared. Instead of taking the girl to the kind-hearted emoji, the young man decides to run away with her. But Baraki is on their trail. When they are cornered at the edge of the cliff, they realize they can't escape. Hand in hand, they jump into the sea, sacrificing both themselves and their fate. Antique dealer Jack gives Ethan the protective medallion and reveals that he is actually the reincarnation of Po Chong. As for Ethan, he was Haram in his past life. Now, both of them have been given a second chance to fulfill the prophecy. Jack tells Ethan that he must find a girl named Sarah who has a dragon-shaped birthmark and take her to the sacred cave. After remembering the girl's name, Ethan goes to his friend Bruce and asks him to find Sarah, because he believes that this mysterious girl is connected to the giant footprints in the city. However, Bruce points out that there are thousands of Sarahs in the city, so it will be difficult. Meanwhile, as Sarah watches the news about the giant footprints on TV, she is suddenly overcome with fear. Without saying a word, she runs home. It's as if she senses the approaching danger. To protect herself, she finds a book about ancient prophecies and frantically flips through its pages. After a while, her friend Brandy arrives. She is stunned when she sees the talisman stuck all over the house. Brandy tries to calm her down, but Sarah's fear does not subside. At that moment, the evil serpent Baraki appears in the city. He searches for the purifier, destroying everything in his path. Sarah starts having nightmares at night. She wakes up screaming from her sleep, and the birthmark on her shoulder burns intensely. In a panic, she calls an ambulance and is taken to the hospital. The next day, when Brandy learns that her friend has been hospitalized, she goes there but is not allowed inside. So she goes to Sarah's house to pick up a few of her things. But the ground shakes. Brandy rushes outside and comes face to face with the giant snake. Baraki catches her, bites her, and throws her body into the pool. In the morning, Ethan receives a report that a woman was killed by a giant snake. He fears the incident might be connected to Sarah and immediately heads to the scene. When he realizes the victim isn't Sarah, he gathers information from the neighbors. He learns that Sarah was taken to the hospital before the attack. When he arrives at the hospital, the staff tells him that Sarah is in quarantine due to the risk of infection from the wound on her shoulder. While looking for another way, Ethan meets a doctor who is a fan of his. The doctor helps him and takes him to Sarah's room. When Ethan enters, he finds the young woman sitting at the edge of the bed. He tells her that the danger he feels is real, that the creature is nearby, and that they need to leave the hospital immediately. At that moment, the building shakes violently. The giant snake has found them. The doctor enters the room and warns them both. He tells them they need to escape immediately. Ethan grabs Sarah and heads for the exit. Meanwhile, the doctor's body begins to change. In fact, he has been Jack, who has been protecting them from the start. Ethan and Sarah run outside. They get into Bruce's car, which is waiting for them in the garage. When Bruce sees the giant creature smashing through the garage after them, he floors the gas pedal. They manage to get out of the hospital. Baraki comes after them with a tremendous noise, but they escape at the last moment. The creature roars in anger and abandons its attack halfway through. Just as they think they're safe, Bruce hits someone. When they stop the car, they realize that the man is Baraki's servant. The man's goal is to capture Sarah and take her to his master. No matter what Ethan and Bruce do, they are helpless against the armored man. Just then, another vehicle comes speeding in and runs over the servant. After making sure they're okay, the woman who gets out of the car changes her form. This person is Jack. The old man continues to protect them in secret. Sarah can no longer comprehend what is happening. She realizes that the things she saw in her dreams could be real, but she questions whether she is losing her mind. Wanting to learn the truth, Ethan suggests getting help from a professor who specializes in uncovering repressed memories. He promises to protect his daughter. After a while, as they sit on the beach, they grow closer and kiss. However, Ethan thinks that if Sarah really is the carrier, her fate might be death. Meanwhile, the attacks in the city draw the government's attention. The authorities believe that the monster is searching for Sarah and that she is connected to the incidents. The official in charge of the operation says that if they can't control the situation, they may have to eliminate the girl. At the same time, Baraki's general uses the ancient scrolls in his possession to summon the serpent's servants and other creatures into the world. Their goal is to capture Sarah. The government locates Baraki and sends in special forces. The soldiers enter the cave, but soon the giant serpent emerges from the darkness. Frightened, the soldiers open fire, but the bullets have no effect. Even as they try to escape, Baraki's army appears from the other side. The general uses dark magic to create a massive wave of energy, wiping out the entire unit in a single move. The professor tries to bring out the repressed memories in Sarah's subconscious. First, the young woman sees memories from her childhood, then visions from a past life. As the memories return, bright lights radiate from her body. Ethan watches her as if mesmerized. When Sarah comes to, they realize that this awakening has also drawn Baraki toward them. They can no longer stay there. They have to escape immediately. They jump into the car and drive away. But soon, the giant snake destroys the house and comes after them. It tears through the streets, smashing everything in its path to pieces. Ethan and Sarah duck into narrow alleys, managing to evade the creature for a short while. Ethan realizes they can no longer be safe on land and asks Bruce to arrange a helicopter. Shortly after, they meet at a restaurant. Bruce gives them supplies and tells them the helicopter is ready on the roof of the news center. But at that moment, Baraki appears again. It shakes the building as it enters, trying to catch the girl. The three of them quickly run outside. The snake levels the building. Just as they're about to be caught, the police open fire, distracting the creature. Ethan and Sarah take advantage of the opportunity and escape. The streets descend into chaos. Cars are tossed around, buildings collapse, the city is engulfed in flames. Explosions light up the sky. The pair finally reach the news building and head up to the roof. The helicopter is ready, but Baraki spots them and coils his body around the building, climbing to the top. As the pilot tries to take off, the snake catches up and grabs them. At the last moment, Ethan grabs Sarah and throws her down. The helicopter is torn to pieces. Then it crashes to the ground in flames. As the sky fills with dark clouds, Baraki lets out a triumphant roar. He fixes his gaze on Ethan and Sarah, planning to eat them and seize the power of the skies. At that moment, the American military arrives. Attack helicopters and tanks open fire on the giant snake, targeting it. Missiles and bullets light up the sky. Thanks to this, Ethan and Sarah manage to escape. Baraki responds with fury. He tears apart several helicopters in midair and scatters the soldiers. However, the heavy fire eventually takes its toll. The giant creature crashes to the ground and shakes the earth with a roar. The soldiers keep firing relentlessly, but no one notices. Beyond the sky, an army of dragons is rapidly approaching the city. Suddenly, giant creatures appear in the sky and hurl fireballs at the helicopters. Explosions occur one after another. The sky is engulfed in flames. The helicopters fall one by one. The remaining ones retreat. Then, monster troops advancing from the ground enter the city. They rain bombs down on the police lines. The army mobilizes its armored vehicles. Tanks and infantry take up positions against the Dark Army commanded by Baraki's general. The two sides clash. A great battle begins. Tanks open fire and many creatures are brought down. But the monsters retaliate with bombs as well. During this chaos, Ethan and Sarah manage to escape from the building. But soon after, they are captured by government agents. The agents claim they want to help and take the pair to a secret underground facility. There, a senior officer says he knows the ancient legend and that the only way to stop this disaster is to kill the girl. Even if the creatures return 5 centuries later, humanity will be saved for now. As the officer points his gun at Sarah, another agent suddenly shoots his own partner. He says he realized that if the girl dies, humanity's fate will be sealed forever. He gives the keys to Ethan and tells him to protect the girl, stating that this is the only way to change fate. Ethan takes Sarah and sets off by car toward the Mexican border. But Sarah is hopeless. She says that running is pointless, that Baraki will find her anywhere. At that very moment, fireballs rain down from the sky. The dragons have found them. The vehicle is tossed in the flames, flips over and is shattered to pieces by the roadside. Ethan loses consciousness. When he opens his eyes, he finds himself tied to a post in the middle of the desert. Baraki's dark army is lined up around him. The soldiers take Sarah to the altar and tie her to the stone table. The girl is to be sacrificed to the evil serpents. The general and his army shout Baraki's name in unison and open the massive gate. From the darkness behind the door, a giant serpent slithers out. It leans over Sarah. The woman screams in terror. Ethan cries out her name in desperation. At that moment, the medallion on his chest begins to glow. Lightning strikes descend from the sky. A wave of energy incinerates the entire army. Baraki survives the explosion. He attacks in fury, hurling Ethan to the ground. Just as Baraki is about to swallow Sarah, another emoji appears and begins to fight the evil serpent. The newcomer emoji grabs Baraki by the jaw and throws him aside. The two giant creatures roar and attack each other. Baraki bites his opponent's neck and slams him to the ground. At that moment, Sarah realizes that the only way to end everything is to accept her fate. Bravely, she steps forward and calls Yuji out from within her body. As the brilliant energy rises into the sky, Baraki tries to catch it, but Sarah sends the power in another direction. The kind-hearted emoji seizes the opportunity and swallows the energy. Although Baraki attacks in anger, it is already too late. The good emoji's skin begins to glow. Its body transforms and it turns into a celestial dragon. The dragon roars, grabs Baraki, and slams him to the ground. The dark serpent attacks once more, but cannot withstand the power of the celestial dragon. It is flung again and crashes into the ground. The dragon ascends into the sky. Baraki grabs onto its tail. The two rise up toward the clouds. The celestial dragon suddenly turns back and strikes its neck. It hurls Baraki downwards. The giant serpent crashes into the ground. The dragon gathers a massive fireball in its mouth and sends it into Baraki's mouth. The dark serpent burns from within. It turns to ashes in the flames. The battle is over. The dragon comes to Ethan and brings Yuji out. Meanwhile, Sarah's body transforms into light. She merges with Yuji. The celestial dragon rises to the sky with a roar. It takes Yuji and disappears among the clouds. Before leaving, it sheds a few tears as if feeling Ethan's pain. Then Jack appears. He says he did the right thing and slowly fades away, passing into the other world. Ethan looks at his master one last time and begins to walk toward the desert.